Hey, this is Notser, and we're going to be looking at 3 premium ships that were recently teased by Wargaming. Now, the first ship that they teased was the HMS Gallant, the ship that you can see on your screen right now. HMS Gallant is a British destroyer. The destroyer served from the mid-1930s to the mid-1940s. It was sunk, but what did it do? It provided enforcement of arms blockading during the Spanish Civil War. So that's something unique about it. It also was one of the ships that participated in the evacuation of Dunkirk. Now, it's clearly very familiar because there's going to be a movie coming out, and you've probably seen the advertisement for it. If you didn't know, there's going to be a movie coming out by Christopher Nolan. I'm excited to see it, and I'm going to assume that Wargaming is going to try and time this to be released around the same time the movie is actually available in theaters. So what sort of destroyer should we expect from the HMS Gallant? Well, so far they have defined it as a Tier 6. It's going to have 8 torpedoes, 2 4-torpedo launchers. It will have 4 120mm guns, and the British trait of a single launch torpedo should be carried over to this particular ship. If Wargaming keeps with their word, that will always be a part of every single British ship that has a torpedo system. They will have a narrow selection and a single launch selection, and that's great. That's worth purchase right there. I have no idea what else they want to put on it. It seems to me that it appears as somewhat like a US destroyer, so maybe it's going to have terrible velocity on its guns. I wouldn't put it past them. I don't know if they're going to carry over any traits from their cruiser line, but it's all speculation. I'm just excited to see another destroyer in the game. I just love playing destroyers. I can't help it. Especially since it's going to be British and it's going to be the single launcher. Now, let's see something a little bit different. Here we have the USS Enterprise, and no, not the Federation. This is the American Navy Enterprise. She is the Big E, the Gray Ghost. This is a warship, a carrier that earned 20 battle stars, most of any U.S. warship during World War II, and therefore the most decorated U.S. ship of the war. It's really exciting to see her put in the game because we were thinking, how long do we have to wait for this Yorktown class carrier? Maybe it's a Tier 9, maybe we'll never get the premium. Well, Wargaming has never passed up an opportunity to get a premium in the game or a well-known ship in the game that people are willing to spend a little bit of money. It's completely reasonable, and it looks like we're going to get it sooner rather than later. Maybe, well, way before an alternative aircraft carrier line. This is going to hit sometime in the summer, probably, based on all of the release data, and we've seen this before with the hood and all that stuff, how long it took from the announcement, the tease at the Facebook stuff, then for players to get, well, the super testers, the community contributors, and then all that stuff. So what are we getting? We are potentially getting a Tier 8. The 96 warplane is extremely high. These are based on historical data. They will have to bring down some of those stats in order for it to be fair, or they just make them a lower tier. I have no idea what they're going to do with the aircraft, how the loadouts are going to work out. I'm hoping that it will have a 2-torpedo squadron. I'm really hoping that this will probably be one of the introductions to the aircraft carrier game for many people who just want a part of history. And yes, let's face it, they're probably going to be bad at it, which is hilarious when Wargaming considers trying to do, you know, Tier 4 and Tier 5. No manual. Yeah, well, this is going to make people buy it. It's too famous to ignore. And I don't think Wargaming's will be like, you know what? We don't want money. I think they're going to want the money. So I'm just looking forward to how they design it to fit at Tier 8. So we have seen a destroyer. We've seen an aircraft carrier. Let's check out a cruiser. And Soviet cruiser, right? There's always a Soviet cruiser. Here we have the Admiral Makarov. And you might recognize its lines because it already exists in the game. This is actually the Nurnberg. It was given to the Soviet Navy after the war, of course, and it looks like we're getting a Tier 6 version for the Soviets. Now, I have no idea if it's going to get anything unique. You know, maybe it has radar at Tier 6. I would put it past them. But it is the Nurnberg for the Soviet Navy. It is a Soviet cruiser. Another Tier 6. We've gotten a ton of them. And it's probably just to give a little bit more variety in the premiums that are coming out, because let's face it, it's been a while since we've seen a Soviet premium. Honestly, I'm trying to think, what was the last Soviet premium that we got? It was the destroyer, right? That tier 4, tier 5 destroyer, the Robotnik. So yeah. It looks like it has torpedo tubes, and it looks like they're sort of midship. I love the paint job. The paint job looks great. I mean, I'd buy it just for the paint job alone. And yeah, it's a Nurnberg. It's gonna work the same way. Maybe the turrets rotate to 360, right? Was it the Nurnberg or was it the Königsberg? I'm trying to remember, and I just it's been a while. So tier 6, Soviet cruiser. It's going to be competing with the Molotov. It's going to be competing with a ton. Honestly, there's so many Soviet cruisers. But 150mm guns, 950mm guns. I don't know if the torpedo tubes will be longer or shorter range than the Germans that it's probably replacing. Man, I just need to think about what this could potentially be. Either way, it's got a great paint job. I love it for that. I'll look forward to testing it. It'll probably be the most strong one out of all of them, right? Let's face it. Russian bias, right? No. If it's off of the Nuremberg, it's going to be the same strength and weaknesses. Remember, early on, German cruisers, their steering would get knocked out, engines would get knocked out. It's sort of vulnerable. It might have those same weaknesses, but it should have better rate of fire than the Molotov and a couple other ships at tier 6, tier 7, because they're trying to upgun and all that stuff. So, that has been the premiums that were teased by Wargaming, Gallant, Enterprise, and Makarov. I can't wait to try them all. I have no idea when they're going to be coming out. Basically, I expect these guys to show up 2 or 3 weeks after Hood and the Kaga go on sale for super testers, and then maybe 2 weeks after that for community contributors, and then maybe 3 or 4 weeks after that for you to get your hands on it. And they're not going to all release at the same time, I don't expect. So we'll have to wait and see. I hope you all enjoyed this. I hope you're excited. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time. And if you have more information, please share it in the comments. I greatly appreciate it. All right, take care.